welcome. Thank you for coming. I know it must be challenging to get up and come over here on a Friday morning in the summer. Most people on vacation, or if they're not on vacation out of town, they're at home vacationing and doing nothing. So we really want to thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. We have a very exciting exhibition that we're going to tell you about. But before that, I want to tell you about some other activities that will be going on. Ernest, bring me some of the cards over there, please. We have some other activities that will be taking place here between now and before the State Fair. Last night we had Music Under the Dome, which is summer musical. It's for 3 Thursdays, June, July, and August. And then on July 31st, we have our 31st Texas Black Invitational Rodeo. It's over in the Fair Park Coliseum, and it's probably the biggest sports activity here in town other than the Purview Grambling football game. Then on September 4th, out on our lawn, we're going to have the 4th Fair Park Blues and Jazz Festival. And that's where we ask you to come, bring your lawn chair, your tent, whatever else you want to. You can bring your food. And we have some vendors out there. So if you don't want to do a picnic basket, we'll have the vendors out there, about 25 food vendors and some other vendors too. They have some other stuff out there. But before I introduce our curator, I want to thank our sponsors for this exhibition, Men of Change, which came from the Smithsonian. It's a part of the Smithsonian Institution Travel and Exhibition Program. And we have several sponsors that I'd like to recognize. Bank of America is the title sponsor for the Dallas showing of Men of Courage. And I'd like to thank the Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs for the City of Dallas and our media partners, WFAA, Magic 94.5, 97.9, The Beat, Texas Metro News, Garland Journal, and iMessenger, and DART. And we really appreciate their support for this exhibition. When I talked with my friend Marquette Wiley, who is the coordinator of the site program at the Smithsonian, we were talking about some other things, and she told me about the Men of Courage, Men of Change exhibition. So I said, oh, we'd like to have it. So we had scheduled to have this exhibition next year. So they sent me all of the information with the itinerary. And I looked at the itinerary, and there was an opening in June of 2021. Wow. And then in not so large print, it put the rental fee was half price. So I jumped at it, and that's why it's here. Now, we have put this exhibition up in record time. We've had 8 men here, 8 persons here, because there's a woman involved. We've had 8 art handlers here for 8 days, 8 hours a day. And our curator has been managing all of that. And I know he's exhausted because we're about the same age. And I know he's tired, but it's going to be worth his while for all of the time he spends here with that group. But I'm sure he's going to tell you that the installation is really a part of the exhibition. And that's why they had to painstakingly do it. And so when they looked at the floor plans and saw the configuration of this building, at first they said, well, we probably couldn't do it. But I wasn't worried about it because Philip was in charge, and I know he would figure a way to do it. He's always doing the impossible. So I didn't even bother about it. And Philip got with them, worked out something, and they sent the guy from the Smithsonian who put this stuff together. And of course, he didn't come cheap. He came at $600 a day. And he was here for several days, had to pay his transportation because it's short notice. Usually it takes much longer to put this stuff together. But we've managed, thanks to Philip, our curator. Philip is our retired chief curator. And whenever we have a major exhibition, we call Philip out of retirement. And sometimes the people who are sponsoring the exhibition will request that we have Philip to come and do the supervised exhibition. So that's why you see Philip here. We have a number of complementary programs for men of change. There's a program called Men of Courage, and it's an entire curriculum that has been put together that has been used in other cities. And we're going to be implementing that program here between now and June. It has to do with storytelling, where we will bring people in from the community, men from the community, who are storytellers, and they will be telling their stories. If you get a chance, you will see a banner in here sometime later with the list of the host committee from Dallas. And that list consists of some high-profile men, but it also consists of some younger men who show promise for being men of change. So you will see that name, you say, I don't recognize, no, you don't recognize them now, but hang around and sooner or later you're going to recognize these names on there. So stay tuned for some of those programs. And I'd like to present our curator, guest curator here, and where's the young lady from the Morning News, the intern? She graduated from Howard University. Oh, she's an intern at Howard. So I told her about my experience with Howard University. When I came to Dallas in 1974, I was offered the job at Howard University as the university librarian. You know, Howard University is the Black Harvard. It's the capstone of black higher education. And every African-American librarian in the country wanted that job. So they offered the job to me. And when I went back up to sign the documents for the second trip, I went overnight, got up that morning, picked up the newspaper, and they were going to pay me $11,000 more than Bishop was paying me. So got up that morning, picked up the newspaper, and saw the president had fired 3 deans. So I went through an interview knowing that I wasn't going to take that job. So I got back on the plane, called Texas, talked to the president, said, let's keep talking. And so that's how I ended up at Bishop United Howard University. So I'm going to ask Philip if he would come up, talk about the exhibition, and take any questions you have. Now, whatever you want to know, ask Philip. He has the answers. Philip? Okay. Philip E. Cowell. Philip Earl Cowell.
Larry, Dr. Robinson, Men of Change. It is an exhibition about the African American male. And we're looking at it in 3 dimensions. And through those 3 dimensions, we're looking at it through 6 categories or sections. And that is through imaging of the African American male, storytelling of the African American male, community of the African American male, myth breaking of the African American male, and also the catalyst. What do I mean by catalyst of the African American male? This is dealing with people, men of change, who have been catalysts for pushing forward the agenda of the African American male. And we can also use people like the situation, the issue with Emmett Till, that was a catalyst to push the African American male forward. And so in those categories, that's how we're working with this. And it's a very exciting show because in that we have paired also artists. Well, the Smithsonian has paired artists, I should say, with some of these personalities in these different categories. This is how the exhibition is structured. And they're younger artists. These artists are between let us say 20 and 45 years of age. And their purpose was, they're not commissioned, they were given a stipend because these paintings and art that you see in the collection of this exhibition is not a part of the Smithsonian collection. They belong to the artist, but they were invited to select from one of the men in the exhibition, the Men of Change, to create a portrait. Now these portraits that you will see with the artwork in the exhibition are the artist's interpretation of the particular person. They're portraits of that person and how they see that person. And the interesting thing about it is the artists were able to select which one out of this 130-something Men of Change there. They were able to select which one they wanted to because they wanted to align them with the man that they had similar agendas in the content of their art and what they do with their art. And that's why there's only these artists that are selected in it. There are only about 38 pieces of artwork in the exhibition, but they're powerful works. And before I go farther with that and the exhibition, speaking about the artists there, since we're telling stories, and because it really relates to what this exhibition is about as well. Here at the museum, when I was the chief curator years ago, I realized every morning I picked up the paper, the newspaper, it was something in the newspaper about some young black man that had been killed or something had happened to him, all the negative things. It was something almost every week there was something going on in the paper about that. And I thought, we never get anything in the paper. You know? Oh, I haven't seen anything in the paper about some of the good things that these young people are doing, black males are doing. And what I did, I created a program here, an exhibition program for young black artists. It was not exclusively for males, but the story relates to a particular male in this. What I did, I decided that I would have curators' choice. Curator's Choice was an exhibition program designed for young African American art students, studio art students, who were in their junior or senior year at the university or college, that I would deem having potential to becoming a good artist. I would give them a show in a museum setting. The reason for that is because I thought they do not have the opportunity when they graduate, the young African American artists, when they graduate from college, they have they have a portfolio, but they have not shown in any galleries anywhere. So how are they going to be picked up? They have no exposure and all. So I thought it was the museum's responsibility to jumpstart their careers. In imaging, we think in terms on with the African American male. You have men up there in the exhibition who dispel that. We have people like James Baldwin with his writing. We have people like Kehinde Wiley, who is famous now with his painting. We have people like Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong. All of these people are in that section of the exhibition. And let me say this too. The exhibition is about bringing the male, the African American male who has been invisible, out of the darkness into the light. And that's why light boxes were chosen for this, because we put them in the light in this exhibition. It is very engaging to see what is happening to us when we get into the light. Now, what I'd like to make clear here is that the exhibition is about the contributions that have not been acknowledged by our culture as representation from the Black community and the like. For example, you have people in the exhibition with their contributions like Charles Hardrew. Anybody know who Charles Hardrew was?
He invented blood plasma.
Correct. And he was African-American. But we learned that in school. The purpose of this exhibition is to bring these people out of the darkness, these men out of the darkness, into the light.
James Baldwin has even written a statement of equality. Children have never been very good at listening to their elders, but they have never failed to imitate them.
1960.
Yeah, James Baldwin. I love it because you see him at a different role. As fathers, we notice that we have wholesome families. Yes, there's a lot of single mothers out there, but there are fathers, good fathers out there with families too.
Which gallery?
So yes, we do have fathers.
Active.
Yes, yes. Okay. That's what you did. You have the gallery you were interested in. The Lincoln Brothers that's the artist's portrait of Ron J. It's the name.
And again, this is just an absolutely amazing exhibit. Very well put together, very informative. I mean, if you just had a short time to tell the people in our area why they need to come see this and what they can expect. Just what would you say?
This exhibition is very important because it's an opportunity to bring out of the darkness into the light African American men who have made change in the world today. Because it's an opportunity to expand their information about African American male and African American culture. I'm hoping that it will inspire them to want to do that.
Sometimes you like to just lead people towards what.
Lots of influence and storytelling with the African American community because this is with Johnson Publishing Company. There it is there. The Johnson Publishing Company, you see there, Ebony Magazine and Jet Magazine. This is the first and here, that is the author of the poetry. And he's here in the light here. And he is here, Johnson H. Johnson, here. And that's how this is working. And it's very interesting to realize that we're bringing together art and history and politics, all of it here. As I said, the full man, the full African American man, who is a healthy person, in this sense. But we don't get this. We get in the media books and we just don't get it. I don't know why it's not used. It should be newsworthy that we're here. Like this. Okay? And we're here. And we're coming out of the dark into the light. And that's the focus of this exhibition, is to bring that out and to give this information and hope that there will be role models out of this for future generations. But we need to have it out. Okay. Here is James Bearden, Robin Bearden, sorry. He was a very important painter. And there is the artist rendition of Robin Bearden as well. He has exhibited at the Dallas Museum of Art, a one-man show there is for, and he has written a history of African American art. He has a book out on that, which is a very important document for studying African American art history now. But that's a part of imaging. This is what I'm saying. This is the section on imaging. Kehinde Wiley here, as you know now, is the darling of the art world at the moment. And here is a revision by the artist Kehinde Wiley, the portrait of him as an artist. And of course, this is interesting here, this piece. This is a rendition of James Baldwin, and it's done in this format as a video. It's by the because James Baldwin is talking in this. So I will put a bench here for people to sit.
No one can be as far as I can see.